Welcome. Cindy Benson here. So this video has a lot of elements in it that are provoking for me. I've titled it How to Handle Play Behavior Around Livestock, and that's true. But you'll see some other things play out too. You'll see the value of pairs. So I'll break that out separately a little bit, but here's the deal. So this video makes me wonder why I ever thought saying no to a dog made the slightest bit of sense. I mean, what does that mean to a dog? A dog is a dog. A dog is going to meet their needs. If these two puppies, you'll see them play like crazy. If I were to tell them, no, don't play, what would they do with that? I mean, they'd learn to avoid me. They'd learn to be frustrated. They'd have to play anyway. That energy is there. The brain chemistry is there. Play behavior has a tremendous amount of value to dogs. They learn so many things about how to do their job as LGDs through that behavior. So stopping that behavior is just never a good idea. It's just not. If it shows up in a situation that isn't good for everybody, like close to livestock, then you want to stop things, change the situation, which after all is your fault, not theirs, and set them up again. So what you're going to see here is me doing exactly that, and I'll talk you through it a little bit. These two dogs in front of me, I call them my brown pups. I know, not creative, but that's where it's at. JB and Lemon are actually their names. So we have a male pup and a female pup. They're siblings. They're a year old. They have the same training background except for 2 months of time where the female lived somewhere else. These are rescue dogs. Both have bilateral hip dysplasia from backyard breeders. Different story. Lemon didn't fit well in the environment she was in. She learned to lack confidence in herself. She learned all kinds of things, and she came back here to me on a different plane kind of than her brown partner, her male partner. Whether she would have ended up that way through her own maturing process or not, I don't know, and it isn't really very relevant. So I have the dogs in front of me, so that's how this goes. So JB, the male dog, who I think is the dog in front of me, I get these guys mixed up a fair amount as I'm watching them from a distance, is a laid-back, confident kind of a guy. He's been in and out of this field a lot. He's worked with the two adult dogs that you'll see back here a lot. He's worked with the sheep a lot. She's new to this. She's not very experienced around sheep. She has a history of wanting to chase little springy things. So I'm managing this situation really carefully. As you watch this, notice that I'm not using long lines. I'm not telling the dogs not to do anything. I'm not doing any of that. I do have leashes in my back pocket. I do have the ability through my reinforcement history with these two dogs to move them around the field if they started to get springy close to the livestock. If I ran a different direction, they'd follow me. If I acted like a party and I went back in the little field that you'll see in this video, they would follow me and I could close the door. So there are a lot of safety elements in place, but there is a tremendous advantage to letting these two dogs believe that they rule the world, believe that they have complete autonomy out here while I am making sure that everything goes well. It's really important for LGDs to be used in pairs. It's just, again, I just don't. These two dogs need to play together. They need to learn what they need to learn from each other together. If I had one puppy and one adult, the adult is not going to appreciate it. The puppy's got nowhere to go with it. They're going to try to play with the adult. The adult's going to get disgusted about it and be sharp with the puppy and shut it down. And that may look like a good thing to some people. You know, the puppy was playing and the adult said no and the puppy stopped. What you're forgetting about that is what's necessary in the development of dogs to learn how to be good guardians. So what you'll see in this video also is my two adult guardian dogs managing this situation. Now, let's take a thought about how they got to that point. How is it true that I have two adult dogs that are so incredibly flawless in so many situations? They have very, very strong social skills, and they learned it from being able to do play behavior together with their litter mates, with all kinds of situations. They have a lot of confidence in themselves. They have very great skills about reading canine body language. They can be out here watching these pups from a distance and not have to be really focusing on them a whole lot, but they're managing the situation based on where they position themselves in the field. You'll see a lot of that, but they learned how to be that way by growing up this way. Fast puppies together, managed well. So we'll let this play out a little bit. It's a video that I talk through a little. I'll stop and start it, translate things a bit, but here we go. This is my morning tuck-in of these 2 brown pups into this field with the sheep and the lambs in it, which they had some pretty good success in yesterday. We just walked in, and let's see, from that gate way up there, this is the yard where they started out in yesterday. They got really bouncy. Cameo was insulted by them. She's up there. And they were too bouncy for anybody's well-being. So I walked down this fence line, and out here around this corner, I'm standing with my back against the fence so that I don't get flattened by these dogs. And I'm using my body as a magnet and just moving them. Moving dogs that are all excited helps them kind of work it through and settle their brains a little bit. If I had left when I brought them out here like this, and they trotted over to see the sheep are all lying down. The sheep are way up there. So in situations like this, there is, how do I want to say this? My first consideration is safety. When I bring new dogs into a field with established dogs, I first take a really good look at the level of tension in all 4 dogs. I want to see the adult dogs give me permission to let the young dogs be there. I want to be sure that the young dogs are not frightened by the older dogs. So I've done that. I came in that small pen with these dogs. All 4 dogs greeted each other there. They had some discussion about things just through social body language. And then they moved out to the position that you see them here in this video. The second safety consideration I have is the livestock, and it's right on the heels of the other one. I'm always training livestock. So if I let these puppies come in and those sheep all turned their heads the same direction, or they stood up, or they banded together, I would not do it this way. I'd put those dogs on long lines and keep them with me. I'd bring them in one at a time. I'd do any number of things so that when I look at the sheep, they feel like they trust the world. If I don't do it that way, and the puppies come in, they're young, they're bouncy, they're fast, sheep stand up, band together, all of a sudden the puppies are looking at the sheep. What's happening? They're going to go over and check them out. The sheep have shown me that they're worried about it. Here come the puppies, there go the sheep, there go the puppies, and all is lost. And it's really a management situation. It's my mistake, not anybody else's. So when I come into a new situation like this, I want to be sure that my livestock are up for it. So these guys are all giving me permission to do that, and this is the value of having really well-trained livestock. I've managed lots of dogs in and out of these sheep, and they know that I'm not going to let them be encroached upon. But if I went too close, they'd stand up. So I'm making sure that through my own body position, I move the dogs far enough away from the sheep that they can do the play behavior that they need to do without worrying my sheep. So safety first, safety with the dogs together, 4 dogs, safety with the sheep, good training, not bad training for the sheep, and now we move on. They're all lying down, chewing their cuds, looking pretty happy because they trust these 2 white dogs to keep everybody still, and they were pretty safe with the brown puppies yesterday. But this is a tender kind of a situation for everybody. So, yeah, we don't need this kind of play behavior near those sheep. And if I had just left and they would have charged around the field, they might have landed in the middle of those sheep, and the sheep would have been horrified and jumped up, and everything would be different right now. So I walk down this fence so I can move them out of a small area and out into a bigger area. Tari came with us. Tari is a very experienced guy, and he played with them a little bit, but he's staying with them and monitoring them because he's the wise boy that he is, and he's keeping an eye on them. Cameo has positioned herself up there at the gate, which is a resource area that she cares about. So these dogs have positioned themselves at either side of these fast puppies, and the fast puppies are having a party. So let's take a thought about that. What if there was one dog and one puppy? I mean, it puts everybody at such disadvantage. So those adult dogs are very quietly positioned themselves in different places on the field. They're managing this situation just passively, just by watching it. I don't want to put my adult dogs in a situation where they have to do a whole lot to manage a pup situation. It's not. If I bring puppies into a field with established dogs, I want their permission. I want to know that they're okay with the pups coming in. When the adult dogs intervene or teach puppies, or whatever, like people talk about, the adult dog trains the young dog, it's not really what's happening. What's happening is that the adult dogs own the field. They want everything to be okay within their parameters, how they feel about it. Most adult LGDs want things to stay calm. When things are not calm, they'll work to change that situation. These dogs, these adult dogs, because of their strong social skills, have chosen to position themselves far enough out of the range of play of these puppies that they're not body slammed and inconvenienced by it. But one's close to the livestock, one's on the other side, and they're prepared to step in and shut down busy behavior if they need to. If the sheep were frightened and moving around, the adult dogs would go and try to get in front of the sheep and slow that down. But it's like a bell that's already been rung. It's my job not to put them in that situation, not to put the puppies in that situation, and certainly not to put my sheep in that situation. So this is the value of adult established pairs with very strong social skills, able to allow me to bring pups in and train with them, mentoring through the body language that the pups will learn to mirror. I am not a believer in having one adult dog raise a new pup. I'm very much a believer that if you have an established pair of dogs and they're getting older and you need to bring in a second guard, that you bring in two young pups together and you let them learn from each other in the way you see these dogs do. And what happens is the adult dogs, as these pups become more trustworthy, will start to take a back seat. They'll hang back and be in charge of the youngsters. The younger, really physically fast dogs will go out and range far and do the distance work, while the older pair supervises and stays where they can watch. This allows older dogs to take care of their bodies a little bit. Cameo in this video, unfortunately, is an elderly dog. So she's managing. She would go out and work all around with a fast pup if she needed to, but I want her to live a long life. So allowing her to have a partner and share the tasks in this field means that I can keep her with me longer. So it's things to consider. Here, which is exactly what they need to do for a little while they're in this new field. With me as backup to my white dogs, fence behind me so I'm not laid out by these fools. Tari on board to watch. Everybody's managing these young dogs as they've come into this field. And once they stop being so wound up and enthused with each other, then I'll take a chance on walking away. But if I had walked away and they'd gone over to bounce the sheep up, the sheep would have learned some bad training things. My white dogs would have had too much on their hands, and they might have been a little more heavy-handed with these pups to get them back in line than I want them to have to be. And I don't want to introduce something into their pasture and sheep population that they're going to have trouble with. So it's all about balance and what's fair to ask and expect in keeping everybody's bodies as soft and confident and moderate as they can be. So, and these guys right here can't be moderate at all. They're young and they're fast and they're going to do what they do, which is perfect. And I'm out here, Suzanne Clothier calls this training with guardrails. I'm out here letting them have a lot of autonomy and make good choices, but I'm influencing those choices by where I am, and this will make us successful. This is true. And it's really, really pretty LGD training. I'm not out there by my position, by my reinforcement history with the dogs. I'm influencing how this plays out. I'm protecting my sheep. I'm protecting the adult dogs. I'm setting these pups up for success. Never once have I told anybody to stop doing anything. If they are doing something, it's because it meets a need for them. So I want them to be able to meet their needs in a way that isn't costly to the other animals around them. So they're over here in a big area. They can run, they can be fools, they can play. You can see that, I think this video initially is 3.5 minutes long. You can see that this plays out really fast for these puppies. And then they're starting to be a little soft and steady. Then I can go away and go back in the house. People ask, how much time does it how much time does it take to train LGDs? Well, this is how it works. I walk out here, I set these puppies up well, I stay until everything looks good, and then I go do other things. So for the balance of the time that these puppies are in the field, and this is part of a longer video sequence, I'm outside this fence, driving up and down, doing chores, one eye watching these guys, monitoring whether the learning that's happening is productive, good for everybody, safe, calm dogs, behavior that is in line with building trustworthy, confident dogs. If it starts to shift, starts to go differently, I'm on deck and I'm watching from a distance, so I'm in charge, but they don't know it, and I don't want them to know it. And if it shifts, then I go in and I say, "Hi, dogs, let's go do something else." And they come in that little field with me, and I close the gate, and I tell them how wonderful they are, and I take them somewhere else where my white dogs can relax and go back to sleeping in the shade. The sheep don't have to look at anything anymore. Puppies have been out here and been productive for probably a short period of time, and then they go back somewhere else and they sleep it off. So the amount of time that is needed to effectively teach an LGD how to do their job is often time that you can multitask and do other things. And that's the best way to manage this kind of thing. So I hope this has been interesting to you. Play behavior, fast behavior is not a bad thing. It's a necessary and beneficial part of adolescence, part of dogs learning how to be dogs. And they have to learn how to be dogs before they can learn how to manage livestock populations. It's a critical step. So there you have my bossy point of view. I hope you've enjoyed this.